There is an island in Japan where aging appears to work by different rules. Not 1 in 1,000 residents lives past 100. Not 1 in 500, 1 in every 10. They are not taking drugs, they are not counting calories, they are not following the diet advice that fills bestseller lists and daytime television. Every single day they eat a plant, one that bleeds bright yellow sap when you cut its stem. Deep gold, like something alive. And when you cut a leaf in the morning, a new one has grown back by the following day. The Japanese named it for exactly that quality. Tomorrow's leaf Ashitaba. In February 2019, a research team at the University of Graz published a study in Nature Communications, one of the most respected peer-reviewed journals in the world, confirming that a compound found inside this plant, one not detected in any other food source across 180 tested compounds, activates the same cellular cleanup process triggered by fasting, without any fasting at all. The longest living people on Earth have eaten this plant for centuries. Most Americans have never heard its name. In the next few minutes, I will show you exactly what this plant is, what the peer-reviewed science says, not folklore, not marketing, and why it is absent from every American grocery store, despite being legal to grow in your own garden. You will learn about the specific compound isolated from its yellow sap, how it was tested across multiple organisms, what it does inside living cells at a measurable biological level, and why that knowledge has never reached mainstream audiences despite sitting in one of the world's top scientific journals. Once you understand what this plant is and what the research shows, you will not look at your garden the same way again. The story begins on Hachijojima, a volcanic island 287 kilometers south of Tokyo, part of the Izu Island chain in the Philippine Sea. For centuries, Hachijojima served as a place of exile. During the Edo period, the Tokugawa shogunate sent criminals, dissidents, and disgraced figures there. More than 1,800 people were exiled over roughly 260 years, never told the length of their sentence, forbidden to marry, told to survive as best they could. The terrain was brutal. Volcanic rock, intense humidity, rainfall exceeding 3,000 millimeters a year. Most crops failed. One plant thrived. It grew on the cliffs where nothing else would, and returned faster the more you cut it. The exiles ate it because they had little else. What followed is documented history. The exiles did not die at the rate their conditions should have produced. The most famous prisoner ever sent to Hachijojima, the daimyo Ukita Hideye, banished after the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600, survived on the island for over 50 years, until his death in 1655. By the Edo period, Ashitaba had become deliberate medicine. Samurai ate it for stamina. Farmers chewed the stems through harvest. Then came the 20th century. After World War II, Japan's food systems were restructured under occupation governance. Western agricultural models took priority. Within a generation, the plant retreated to the islands. The mainland forgot. The islands did not. Today, Okinawa, one of 5 globally recognized longevity regions, shows approximately 34 centenarians per 100,000 residents, compared to roughly 10 per 100,000 in the United States. The Okinawa Centenarian Study, running since 1975, has directly examined over 1,000 people living past the age of 100. Researchers link that longevity to traditional diet, low caloric intake, physical activity, social connection, and genetics. The plant is called Ashitaba, Angelica Kisuke in scientific literature, tomorrow's leaf in translation. Researchers already knew Ashitaba was nutritionally dense. It contains vitamin B12, rare in land plants. Its chlorophyll exceeds spirulina. Its antioxidants rival blueberries. But other plants have antioxidants. Other plants have vitamins. Ashitaba had something no other tested food contained. The University of Graz team, senior author Professor Frank Medeo, co-directed by Professor Guido Krumer in Paris, over 40 researchers across Europe, screened 180 flavonoid compounds. Their top result came from Ashitaba's yellow sap, 4,4-prime-dimethoxychalcone, abbreviated DMC, not present in any other food source they tested. When applied to yeast, DMC extended cell survival. In fruit flies and roundworms, standard aging research organisms, it extended median lifespan by approximately 20%. In cultured human cell lines, it slowed cellular aging. In mice, it protected heart tissue from damage during reduced blood flow. In every organism, the mechanism was the same. DMC-triggered autophagy. Autophagy is the process cells use to remove damaged proteins, broken mitochondria, and failing components before they accumulate into larger problems. Think of it as the body's internal housekeeping, one that becomes less efficient as we age. When debris builds up, it is associated with cancer, neurodegeneration, cardiovascular disease, and the physical deterioration we call aging. Fasting activates autophagy. So does caloric restriction, which has extended lifespan in laboratory animals for decades. DMC activated the same process without either. The study was published in Nature Communications in February 2019. In 2016, while this research was underway, Yoshinori Osumi received the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for his foundational work on autophagy mechanisms. The Nobel Committee cited its relevance to cancer, neurological disease, and aging. This is not fringe science. Additional research from Japanese and Korean groups found chalcone compounds in Ashitaba showed tumor-suppressive activity in lab settings, reduced post-meal blood glucose spikes, and lowered inflammatory markers linked to heart disease, diabetes, and neurodegeneration. All are preclinical findings. No large-scale human clinical trial has been published. So why have you never seen this plant in a grocery store? Why has no doctor mentioned it? Why does peer-reviewed longevity research published in Nature Communications remain invisible to most people? Food regulation and economics. In the United States, a food can be marketed under the GRAS designation, generally recognized as safe. Traditional foods receive this automatically. Novel foods require the company seeking to sell them to assemble the evidence. Clinical trials, toxicology data, dietary exposure estimates, legal documentation. Ashitaba's powdered sap was submitted for GRAS review, FDA file GRN 1012. That review was withdrawn, not because the plant is unsafe, but because the submission lacked the essential data required. Human clinical trials, comprehensive toxicology studies, adequate exposure analysis. The economics make completing that dossier nearly impossible. Ashitaba is a plant. It cannot be patented. Any company that spent years and millions assembling the required safety record would simply open the market for every competitor to sell the same thing, using the same data without contributing a cent. No investor will fund research that creates a freely shared public good. So the plant stays in regulatory limbo. Available as a supplement with no permitted health claims, absent from produce aisles, and invisible to mainstream dietary guidance. Meanwhile, pharmaceutical researchers are developing patentable autophagy-triggering compounds. Metformin is being studied in the TAME longevity trial at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. Rapamycin is under investigation for anti-aging applications. Both activate autophagy. Both can be owned. Ashitaba cannot. That asymmetry determines what gets funded, what reaches human trials, and what gets recommended. Ashitaba grows in USDA zones 7 through 10. It tolerates partial shade, thrives in containers, and can overwinter indoors. One plant produces dozens of harvests per season. Cut it today. It grows back tomorrow. The name is instruction, not poetry. You do not need FDA approval to grow a plant in your own garden. You do not need a prescription to consume something that centuries of documented traditional use and preliminary scientific research both point toward. The knowledge is in published scientific literature. The seeds are available from specialty suppliers, and the plant will be ready again by morning. The name is not about the plant's biology. The name is about yours. The centenarians of these islands did not wait for permission. They ate what their grandparents grew, kept moving and stayed close to each other, and they outlived nearly everyone who stopped. Subscribe, because the research worth knowing is rarely where most people look.